Okay, so first of all, thanks for having me. Sarah, I'm really glad that you reached out to me because like you and I talked on the phone, and I just want to say this for everybody, I don't have, a team the size of Jamie Peterson. I have about 1,400 people on my team. But if you can imagine, 1,400 people is still a lot of people. And what happens is, as your teams get bigger, which is a really good problem to have, you tend to not be able to be in touch with everybody. And so I love that, Sarah, I've always adored you from the moment I met you up in Vermont. But I think what I loved about you reaching out to me was that that's what I needed, because I don't have a pulse on everybody. None of us can. And I just don't always know what you guys need. And that part really sucks. What's great, hi Heidi, we just got started, so I just tell you that. So I love that you reached out to me, because again, that gives me an idea of where your head's at, where your team's at. It gives me the opportunity to help where I can. And again, like I told Sarah, I'm always happy to do whatever I can. I don't care if you're paid on, or like, I don't care about any of that. I just can't know if I don't know, right? So I'm thrilled to just have some time with you guys tonight. I don't want to take up too much of your time because I know it's late. And if you're like me, the sun goes down and like my brain goes down. So we won't go too crazy, but I did want to really just share a few things with you. Not so much like factoids and things like that, but just really some takeaways from my most recent leadership retreat, which was out in Palm Springs, California. But before I do that, I don't really have an agenda. I just really want to get kind of a pulse on where you're at. Get a feel for where your head's at, what you're thinking. I hope to be able to maybe just give you some strategy, if nothing else, or maybe even just some, insight or some, commiserating. Like, I'm happy to do any of it. I just really want to make you guys aware that you have an extended team of people who are here for you. I hope you always know that. So let's just dive right in, because I want to just know where your heads are at. What's going on? What are you thinking? Where are you at? Whoever wants to start, let's just
start us off, Sarah. Start us off. Where are you at?
All right. Well, I will say that, Shannon and I talked this weekend. I think she heard a lot of, my thoughts and concerns and where I am. I think a lot of what I've heard from the team is just the ups and downs that we've been feeling with the business. When a lot of us came on, it was skyrocketing, and it was the boom time, go time for RF. And I don't want to say slacked, but it's relaxed. That's the word I'm looking for. And I think a lot of us take that relaxation not as a failure, but like we're going backwards, and that's not necessarily it. So Shannon was talking a lot about that. And I think Shay, maybe expanding on that a little bit more and sharing your story, because I only learned, when did I see Jen? Like a year ago, that, you didn't sign up and hit the ground running. Like, I think all of us expected you were like level 5 in 8 months or whatever. I did, but that's just me and my red wine and coconut seltzer that I'm drinking. But
yeah, so super quick.
Red wine and coconut seltzer at the same time?
Yeah, I told Shannon I was double fisting it. She was like, "Oh, mix it."
I just thought she should try it. Instead of doing two, just combine and see what goes.
And it's box wine, so I'm not like ruining anything. So
that's right.
We're just
a $30 bottle of wine.
So many thoughts,
guys.
There's no loss here. It's like 30 cents, really.
And it doesn't suck. So if you walk away with nothing else from this call, coconut
Heidi,
seltzer,
you're going to try
red
it
wine.
next.
I'm not.
We want to know what you think next time we do. So just so you guys are aware, and I kind of feel ad nauseum sometimes like people know this about me. So I guess I feel bad that you didn't know that, but I feel like I share it a lot with people. So I'll just tell you very quickly, Jen Griswold is my sponsor. What you may or may not know is I actually was the first consultant overseas in our company. So I started in Japan. It's kind of the first to do any of it overseas, really. Level 5, car earner, elite, all of that.
On
was
our
done
team
overseas.
Or like anywhere?
In the whole company.
Look at you.
Yeah. So in fact, when I earned my car overseas, they didn't have anything in place to pay me because I couldn't get a car over there. And anyway, long story short, those are all things that I'm really, really proud of. But what I can tell you is I did not hit the ground running by any stretch of the imagination. I went, and I don't know exact, I've kind of lost track, but I literally went 14 months before my first business partner, and she recruited herself. I didn't do any work. She became a PC. I just kind of was like, yeah, if you ever think you might want to hear about the business, let me know. And she was like, well, I kind of do. And the rest is history. So I had my first consultant, and I had her for probably 6, 7, 8 months, something like that. And I was on the phone. At this point, I'm now like 19, 20 months into my business. And I'm on not the phone because we didn't have this technology back then, but I was talking to Jen somehow. And she just kind of asked me, like, what do you think you want to do with this? And I was like, well, I mean, I want what you have. And of course. And she was like, well, okay, but you're not actually doing those things. Like, you're not doing the things that are going to get you there. So what do you think your problem is? And I had a good long chat with myself. And I was like, at first I was like, I'm not sure. I certainly talk to people. I was kind of known as the PC queen. I had a lot of great customers. I had replaced my income. I was doing pretty good. Like, I was thinking, like, I'm rocking and rolling, but I'm like, I got one business partner. And so I really thought about it long and hard. And honestly, for me, it was just that I wasn't sharing the business, period. I'm a retired nurse. It was really easy for me to talk about products. So I talked about products. And that's why I was a PC queen. I had a lot of customers. So I literally just had a little mind shift for myself that said, you know what? Next time somebody asks you, or next time you're going to talk to somebody, share the business first. And I had the opportunity. I was still living in Japan. I was in what we call our BX, which is kind of like a Walmart. And I came across a gal that worked for my husband. And she was active duty Air Force, and basically we ran into each other, and she just said, yeah, I think I'm going to put in my paperwork and call it done with the Air Force. Her husband was also active duty. Long story short, she was already a customer of mine. And I just flat out was like, sweaty palms, like, I'm not intimidated by this woman, but I was scared to death. And I just finally said, just do it, Shannon, just say it. And so I did. I was like, we should talk about my business. And she was like, okay. She came over that afternoon and she enrolled as a consultant. They don't all happen that easily, as you know. But my point is that set me off on a path. That just from that point on, I went from level 1 to level 5 in about 3.5 months. And then I had to keep doing it, just keep recruiting. Once I hit level 5, I've never rolled back from level 5, but I can tell you, I don't have the same original consultants on my team that I had when I hit level 5. Like, I don't even know that I have one of them. I'd have to look, but.
Can I interrupt and ask
of
you,
course
what
you can.
was your relationship with Jen how did you know each other? Like,
we didn't really know each other at all. In fact, our husbands knew each other.
Oh, okay. And
yeah.
That's how you guys met.
I knew Kevin way better. I mean, I really didn't know Jen at all. And okay. I'll be really honest with you. We actually lived in the same neighborhood in California. When she had her daughter, I just thought the nice thing to do would be to take some food over. So I did. And it was the most awkward, weird, like, these are two women that don't know each other. Like, I was like, I'm just trying to be nice. Like, here's some food. And yeah, so she contacted me, years later when this all happened. Yeah.
Oh, you met her before the business. Okay, got it.
Long before the business, but like I said, I didn't know her. When she emailed me, which again was the only technology I had from Japan.
Right.
I was like, yeah, I mean, I know you're a smart chick, but I save lives for a living. I don't know why you think I want to do this. Like, yeah. Kind of stuck up, if I'm being honest. But anyway, we of course have become good friends and have a different relationship now. I wouldn't feel weird bringing food over, but yeah. So the point to that I think Sarah was trying to make is I certainly did not hit the ground running by any stretch of the imagination. And in a lot of ways, I regret that because I would be, 2 years further along than maybe I am today. But I also think it was a valuable lesson. And I think the reality is, no matter where you're at in your business, it's really easy to, kind of dwell on what maybe has gone on in the past, right? I think it's a lot harder, and I think it takes a lot more oomph and gumption and, grit to kind of go, you know what, that happened. Let me reflect on it so that I learn from it. But I'm deciding today that that's done and I'm moving forward, right? And that's what I did. I simply made that decision. I'm not, this was fun, but I'm kind of done with that. I'd like to have more fun. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
So Sarah, I hope that was kind of what you were hoping I would say.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
good. And also just, and I don't know that there's a lot to expand on, but how the business cycle has gone, and like everybody felt the explosive growth and then it wasn't as fast, and
Yeah,
just
I mean,
kind of the cyclical nature
guys,
of it.
like I got in 8 years ago, and while I think a lot of people can look at it and go, well, you got in at the best time, I actually would say it was not the best time. And the reason was nobody had heard of us. Like nobody. I was in a country on my own where people were like, never heard of it. No, I'm not interested in investing money in this company I've never heard of. And so I think it's really important, because you guys have all been through the last couple of years. I think it's really important for you to know that businesses do this, okay? Businesses do this all the time. In fact, I was just listening to a podcast today. I listen to podcasts incessantly in my car. And this was a Ralph Lauren podcast. He was on Oprah. And it was she's got a couple which I listen to. Now I have to look because the name is eluding me, but Super Soul Conversations. I don't know if you can see that. Super Soul, no, that's super bright, isn't it?
Not really.
It's Oprah's Super Soul Conversations. It's a podcast, it's a free download. But anyway, this was Ralph Lauren. And so this was an interview that was done a couple years ago, and I found this really interesting. As of 2018, he'd been in business for 50 years. And so that's why she was interviewing him. They were having a big party the next night to celebrate his 50 years in business. And I heard him say on the podcast, because she talked to him a little bit about, his personality and whatnot in business in general. And he said, listen, like, I think it was like a handful of years ago, he had to close 500 stores because business was down. 500 stores. Like that's a lot of business. And, his response to that was, listen, this is what businesses do. I've been doing it for 50 years. So you look at like this iconic brand, Ralph Lauren, he's been in business for 50 years. He's had some really shit years. That's what businesses do, right? So when you're looking at this company, I think it's really easy for us, because we haven't been around for 50 years. It's really easy for us to, kind of ride this trajectory up and then see a little dip and kind of go, well, throw it in the towel. Guess I'm done. I guess it's over. It's not going to get any better from here, right? That's a really easy mentality to have. And I'll be honest, guys, I've thought it too, maybe not to that extreme, but I've thought it too. Like, well, maybe the best is over. Right? It's really easy to go there because that's happening. Here's what I want you to know. It's not time to get out. It's not time to stop. It's not time to do anything but keep working your business. And here's a couple of things, but this was probably the biggest thing that I saw just last week in Palm Springs. I went on this leadership retreat. I've been on dozens of them. A lot of the same people I've been on these trips with. But this time there were some new faces. And these new faces, a lot of them were Canadian, I'm not gonna lie. They're kind of badass up there. But a lot of them were brand new, in other words, 2 years or less in business. Now, granted, they're not car earners, some of them yet. They're not, they're not hitting all these massive titles, but who gives, can I cuss? Does anybody have children around?
No.
Who gives a shit about a title? Nobody gives a shit about a title. Don't worry about a title. These girls joined this business less than 2 years ago, and they are killing it. And guess when they decided to join? When we all were like, oh, it's shit. Don't do it now. It sucks. It's getting so bad. It's not the case. That they were like the best example of the fact that this is all in here for us. Yeah, there's going to be some riding the waves. But however we respond to this is all up to us. It has nothing to do with the success or the failure of our company. It has nothing to do with what tomorrow is going to look like, right? They were so inspiring to me, and I absolutely loved hearing their stories and just knowing, like, yeah, I've been doing this for 9 months, and it's just great, and I'm doing so well, and I'm growing, and I'm like, that is flipping amazing. Because again, those of us that have been around for a while are kind of like, man, these last 2 years really sucked. I'm just going to stop reaching out to people. I'm going to stop talking about my business. Yeah, I know I still got some customers, but they'll be all right. Like, it's so easy to check out. But what's that going to do to you? It's going to tank your business, and then you have nothing. So everything that you've worked for is gone, right? And every one of you on this call has worked. I know that. I've seen it firsthand. So you're in the best place possible to decide that that's not what you're going to do, right? The other thing that I think was just really reaffirming, and I'm fortunate that I've been around for 8 years. I have a lot of relationships with people who have all these incredible titles. So I get to have conversations with them, almost regularly, which is very fortunate for me. But we had a couple of, big hitters at this retreat. And I'm talking people who are making, multiple 6 figures a month, not a year, a month. Who are saying, listen, I don't have the same title I used to have. My paycheck's gone down. They're feeling the exact same thing that every one of us is feeling. And it's not so much about, I don't want to commiserate. And, we didn't just sit around and go, woe is us, like this just horrible. No, it was just a really great example of knowing you're not alone. Like, if you felt the heat the last couple of years, raise your hand, please. Mm-hmm. I can't be the only one. Yep. Was it really simple to just kind of think, I don't know, guys, maybe I'm just not cut out for this? Did anybody think that?
Well, I'll just say, so for me, I actually did hit the ground running in the very beginning, but customers, I could not get, to this day, I have 0, working consultants. And I blamed myself for a tiny little bit of time. And then I said, you know what? Like, if I wasn't working, Sarah can't blame herself. Because it's me, so I cannot. So I lost that a while ago. But I did. I would say for me, I'm like, wow, this is like great. This is going to be a great business, and it still is. I had some personal things this last year that have been beyond challenging, I would have to say. That certainly caused me to definitely ride on my customer base, and do a lot less reach outs. But I would say these last 2 to 3 months, I'm like, okay, people are canceling. Okay, yeah. I'm delaying these people for almost 1 year. Delaying these people. First of all, why am I wasting my own time spending that time delaying them? Because I do still take care of my customers' accounts, and I'm okay with that because I don't have as many as I used to. So, it's just a way for me to reach out. But finally,
what does that tell you, though, Chelsea? What does that tell you have to be doing?
Reaching out.
So you have to continue doing it, right?
I do.
If we stop, our team stops, our customers stop, everything stops. Right?
Yeah.
here's the challenge, and Chelsea, I don't want to talk over you at all, because I feel very similarly to what your experience, because I think I sort of had a very similar trajectory. I have 7 people still under me who do nothing. Yep. And have done nothing from the day they came on. I have not been able to motivate them as much as I've tried. And that, to me, sort of, I think, was the beginning of my tanking, because I found it so demotivating that they were doing nothing, and it sort of pulled me south. Then there was like this piece of the reach outs that began to feel really inauthentic to me. And that was when I really stopped, because reaching out to people and talking about the business, it just didn't feel like, I felt like I sold these 7 people on like a false statement, because
it felt like you were a fraud a little bit.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't want to talk about it anymore. And it really bummed me out, just listening to them have no motivation. I think that, there were points where I was pulling in some pretty big paychecks per month, and even not doing very much, I'm still pulling in some nice paychecks per month, and they help me out. I really rely on those. So I don't want to see them go away, but yeah, more and more are canceling. So it happens more and more consistently. So it's like, I struggle. I'm like, I think this is my 3-year anniversary this week. And I struggle with the motivation. I'm not giving it up. I built this business and I'm not giving it up, but by the same token, people are canceling. So it's going away.
So do you guys feel like if I could give you some strategy, maybe that would help you through some of the stuff, or you'd at least be willing to really look at it differently?
I would. Yeah. It's just all the classes that we took, like, because I signed up for a lot of those groups. It was the same thing about stuff. It was the same stuff. Yeah. And so it was the same, which I get it being coachable, and I'm all for that. But I think what I would hope for is a way that it's authentic to the experience and the products and what we're doing. And it feels more natural, because what we were doing didn't feel that way for me.
I hear you 100%. And I feel the same way. Mindy, you and I have talked as well. Like, I kind of feel like I know where your head's at too.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say about your direct team. And this is something that I think really speaks to, and we'll talk about some of the other stuff too, but let's talk about your directs. Everybody here has partners, right?
Yes.
Everybody.
Yep.
As do I. I want you to know how many of my partners actually work. Take a wild guess.
Well, tell us how many you have. And
how many do you have?
Percentage. What do you think a good percentage is?
Percentage.
10.
10%?
I'm going to go with 35%.
Okay, you're pretty close, Chelsea. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry to lowball you.
That's okay. That's okay.
I'm going by
I've had times where it was 10. I've had times where it was 5.
Yeah.
And I might have even had times where there was like 1%. The reality is that it's true. And I don't care how long you've been doing this. I don't care how many people you've, directly recruited. I don't even like these words, recruited and reaching out. I hate all this stuff. But anyway, it is what it is. It doesn't matter how many people you've directly recruited. You have to understand that the percentages across the board are about the same, 35 to 45% roughly. Now, that's not a number I'm proud of, but here's what I know. I'm not alone, right? And neither are you. And in some cases, you might be in the 5% or the 10%. And that's okay too. What it means to me is it's a testament that I need to have more conversations, right? Heidi, you brought up a really good point. We can't motivate anybody. That's not our job, first of all. And second of all, we can't do it. The only thing that we can do is, kind of walk in their shoes. We can't ask people to do things we're not willing to do ourselves, but you also have to understand that even if you're willing to do the work and you're doing it and you're trying to emulate great behaviors and business practice and all of these other things, that there will still be people who are just like, yeah, not so much. I don't want to do it. Okay. But here's what I want you to think about. So Sara and I talked a little bit about this just this last weekend. And that's why she really understood that I didn't do anything for well over a year. my sponsor never dropped me. Like, let's just be clear. She touched base with me every now and then again. I did a lot of training for like Team Give at the time on, PCs, because I was that girl. So she and I talked a fair amount, but I'll be really honest, had she not said to me at the moment that she said it to me, like, where's your head at? Where do you want to go? Are you happy with how things are going? I'd like to say that I would have had the insight to go, yeah, no, Shannon, get off your ass, start doing something different. But I don't know that I would have. So I credit a lot of that to her being willing to have that conversation with me. And here's what I want you to know. The people who have joined you in business, it's not your job to string them along. It's not your job to lead them to the water. It's not your job to do any of that. It's your job to support them, to provide them with the materials and the resources that they need, and encourage them. But it's really, there's nothing beyond that is your responsibility, right? Almost nobody who joins you in business will be you. In other words, I hit level 5 in a hot minute. Everybody that joined me, I'm like, yep, they're gonna do. Nope, they don't do it. It's just not what happens. I still to this day, 8 years in, have one very strong leg. One. I have a lot of legs, but I have one very strong leg, which you guys are all a part of. I have a lot of really good legs. Some of them better than others, some that just simply wash their face, and some that do absolutely nothing at all. But I did not find my unicorn. I did not find my Shannon. My Shannon was rolled to me.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Alexander rolled to me. I didn't even know Sean. We ended up knowing each other. Our kids were in the same second grade class. But my point is, she rolled to me. And had that not happened, I still would have the organization I have today, but I wouldn't have a direct, strong leg like that. And then the rest is history. She and I met Laura at a coffee shop in Okinawa. Laura joined that day. Laura was another Shannon and another Sean, and she was that strong person. So that just doesn't happen across the board like we hope it does. There are some unicorns out there, definitely. But my point to all this is, I think it's always a good time to revisit the conversations with your directs and let your directs off the hook. Let them know, like, listen, you're not disappointing me. You are, and trust me, they feel that way. I can tell you, any single person who has joined you in business, unless you've just pissed them off to no end and they don't talk to you, is feeling like they are disappointing you and letting you down by not working. And so guess what they do? They just stay silent. It's easier to not have that conversation, guys, I promise you. So let them off the hook. Have these conversations with them. Have these really tough conversations like, listen, are you happy with where your business is at? If it's a yes, then okay. I'm here. You let me know what I can do for you, when I can do it for you, and I'll be here every time you need me. If the answer is no, and you have to let them know it's okay if it's no, then you need to make a new plan. Let's revisit why you started this business. Maybe that's changed. Maybe you don't have the self-motivation that you need anymore to get up and work this business. Maybe they're just not strong enough to do it, guys. That happens. There are gonna be people who just don't give a shit. And they think it's gonna come easy. As you guys know, it doesn't come easy. You gotta work hard to have a business that's worth anything. So I think this is a really good time of year, if nothing else, to just reach back to every one of those direct consultants that you have, whether they're working or not. Have a conversation, figure out where they're at, and make sure that they understand that you're ready to lock arms with them if they're ready to decide today that they have a new business to run. And if they're not, that you're gonna love them where they're at and you'll be there and support them when they need you. I'm gonna venture to say that you may have 1% of your direct population, hopefully more, but at least 1%, who says, yeah, you know what? The last 2 years have really sucked. I've not put my head into it. I've not worked hard. I've not done X, Y, and Z, A, B, C. I'm ready to do something different. Perfect. Now you can come up with a new game plan and move forward. But here's the thing. At least you're going to know. You're not going to wonder, like, are they ever going to, will they ever come to a team call? Will they ever hit EC again? You're going to know. Like, it's kind of like when you're talking to a prospect and they just say, stop calling me. Like, that's the best news ever. Now I know. I won't call you again until you call me and you say, okay, I've been watching, I need to do this. So I think the reality is, if you've got a large team, not even a large team, if you've got people who are under you as direct consultants, now is the best time to be having these conversations and just say, listen, I just want to see where you're at because I love you for whatever reason. I don't, your friendship with me has nothing to do with this conversation. Just want to know where you're at. And here's the other thing that I'm going to tell you. Reach down to the people that are under them if they have people. Because guess what happens? Sean rolled to me. Guess what happens? People roll. So you're going to have people who check out, bail out, and they're going to have people under them who are like, well, shit, now I need some guidance. And if you're already having those conversations and have established those good relationships, those people are going to roll right in like seamless, organizations. So does that sound, for at least the direct part of it, does that sound like something you guys are willing to do?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, Heidi, you look so thrilled. I can't tell you how thrilled.
I had an endoscopy on Monday. I'm still like in an anesthesia haze.
You're a little saucy still.
Oh, God.
A little drunk, punch drunk.
Yeah. A little punch drunk.
Now, in terms of what you were saying a little while ago, Heidi, just in terms of like reach out language, I think something that something we did talk a lot about at this retreat I was on just recently, and what I think is really valuable is to change the narrative a little bit. Like, I'm tired of using the reach out language too. I'm tired of it. I don't even like the verbiage of it. And in reality, I think what we've done for a long time is we've gauged kind of, maybe not the success, but we've gauged maybe kind of the progression of our business or the lack thereof based on how many reach outs we're doing. Well, reach outs are just me, like throwing a pen, right? That's a reach out. Okay, that's stupid. Nothing's going to happen for me throwing a pen. So I think what we have to do is change the narrative to how many conversations are we having, right? Because when we are doing these reach outs and we're starting to lob that tennis ball and have back and forth conversations, nothing's happened yet for business, right? So we need to really stop gauging how many reach outs we're doing and really start gauging how many conversations we're having. And obviously those conversations need to be meaningful about business. But I think something that I can take zero credit for. In fact, one of our corporate guys was at this retreat. He said something that I thought was really kind of mind-blowing. And it's not mind-blowing in that, it'll change your life, but I think it will change, again, the narrative. He basically said, what I see that you guys do is you have a personal development business. So you're in the business of personal development. You just happen to have a skincare brand that's kind of the platform for it. And oh yeah, we get to use great skincare and have great lashes. I think that's what people need to hear, because if you're not involved in having kind of these conversations as women, that's what women want. Now, granted, I know I'm a whole lot older than you guys, but I know that's what women my age want. It's what women younger than me want. They don't want to have to work for somebody like I did for 30 years. Do you? No, right? They want to be empowered. They want to have control over their finances. They want to have control over their future. This is no longer a skincare conversation. It has to be what's current, and what's current is we are really in this personal development, self-development, helping people. We simply have to change the verbiage and the narrative of the conversations that we're having, because nobody wants to hear, oh, here's that skincare girl trying to sell me on some stuff. No, I want to hear, if I'm the outsider, I want to hear about this community of people that you get to work with and that you get to collaborate with and who supports you. And
honestly, the girl I just signed yesterday joined because of the community.
Yeah.
She just happened to hear good reviews about the products, but it was all, she's like, I want that tribe.
And great job. Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'd say how you just slid that under. No, be proud of that. That's great.
No, but that's what attracted her. And it was, I mean, she wasn't even someone who was really on, I don't want to say she wasn't on my radar, but like we were just kind of getting to know each other, and I just mentally wasn't there with her. And she's like, you keep talking about, these people you went to Nashville. Oh crap, my battery's dying. That you went to Nashville with and Charleston with, and how they're your besties from far away. And I'm like, well, they are. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I need that. I don't know how to meet women friends anymore.
I love that.
Which is kind of true. It's hard.
It is hard. It is hard. No, I think we really have to get better at, again, I hate to keep saying the same words, but we have to change the narrative here, because we already have like the facts of the business, right? Mm-hmm. It's the number one skincare brand. We've got the number one this and the number one this, and it's the fastest growing, and it's business. It's all great. Most people aren't looking for that. That's all good, substantial stuff to back it up. But nobody's really looking for that. They're looking for community. They're looking for friendship. They're looking for a place that they can fit in and like you said, call their tribe. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for organizations that do good. Those are the things that we need to be sharing with people. And so I think, Heidi, to you specifically, and we're all in the same boat in terms of having these conversations. So to all of you, I think we just have to get better at knowing who we're talking to and what we're saying to them. Because I think it's going to change the way we feel about those reach outs, right? I can't keep saying the same shit. It's like, what's that expression? You nothing's changed, but you expect different outcomes or something like that. Like, that's
the definition of insanity.
Yeah, insanity. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy, right? If it's not working and you're not changing anything, you can't expect any other result, right? So I really do believe that we have to just get really, really good and better at saying the right thing to the right person. Again, Heidi, your face is killing me. Like you are.
I'm sorry. No,
you're I'm so. Shannon, go suck an egg. Is what that is like.
This is resting Heidi face.
I've been such an anesthesia haze. I apologize. I've been asleep like every day at 8:00. And
you just happen to be right on my screen where like maybe I should move you or something to a different point. I totally do hear what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you in that we have to change the narrative. I think it's not just the narrative. I mean, for me, I love my job. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be in it for the next 25 years. I know that. I work for the government. I'm going to get a pension. That's like, I worked my butt to get back to this job. Silly not to. Right.
And so but I do actually love it, and I get excited for it every day. And I know I'm one of the rare few. I don't do this to get out of work. So I think it's like, again, that narrative that was always told to us about like, get out of your job, get out of your day to day. It's not necessarily that. It's like, hey, I made an extra $500 this month and I had a bill I needed to pay, or I got to treat myself with something that I would normally not feel so good about.
Yeah.
Spending that money. And like, that's the narrative to me. And I agree with you, community. We have a fantastic community among us. And I think all of us, Sarah, like with your team, we're super tight. We know we have each other's back. Some of us have known each other for a really long time. But some of us haven't. And so there's a tight community there from the shared experience. I think that it's just, I don't want to sell somebody on like, and I hate saying that word because I was in sales, so sometimes my mind goes that way. I just want people to try the product if they think they want it, and that's cool. I don't want to try to, I think like the auto ships also kill me because I'm so tired of having that conversation about auto ships and managing it. And and I think that's why half my PCs have canceled, is because they're like, I just want less stuff in my life to handle.
Okay, so are you managing your customers or they are?
Some of them. I've tried to push a lot of them over to manage themselves, but I still manage a few.
Yeah. So I think that's I think you can go 50-50 on that. Do whatever works for you. I would say a long time ago, the thought was handle all of it. And then it became these people are grown ass people, let them do their own shit.
Yeah.
But then there's also the conversation that if you let them do their own shit, then chances are they're going to screw it up and then they're going to cancel it.
Mad at you.
Then you've lost people. So keep doing whatever works for you.
I've had people cancel their PC account thinking they were canceling just their auto ship.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what I will say is, I've never heard anybody in my time in business, I've never heard anybody say, hey, the goal here is for you to quit your day job. That's never been a conversation that I've ever heard. So I find it kind of interesting that you have heard that. And I can see why that would put a bitter taste in your mouth. And I can see why that would be like, okay, well, that's not what I want to do. Yeah. I'm not going to try and sell that on other people I know. I think the point is, if you're getting a $500 check and you're happy with that, keep doing it, sister.
I mean, I'd like it to be bigger, but I'm happy that I get something.
Yeah, well, be happy that you're getting something. But my point is, if you don't want it to be 5,000 or you don't want it to be 50,000, then you don't have to do a lot of changing in terms of what you're doing. And that's okay. I do think though, that regardless, I don't know where you may have heard that in the past. I don't even care. I think the point is, there are a lot of people who don't want to quit their day jobs.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. This is a business for anybody, right? Jamie says it really well. This could be your shameless shoe fund or your plan B. You find where you want to be in between. I don't think anybody ever wants anybody to feel like, well, you haven't recruited, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. Be happy where you're at, but know that if you're not happy where you're at, maybe these are some things that will help you change that language. Maybe these are things that will help your team direct to you. I mean, you obviously cared to recruit. I'm not pointing you out for obvious reasons, Heidi, and just kind of reiterating that you've said, but like you don't have these people on your team because you wanted to just say, come on in, join me, and then let's just all fail together. No. Right. So have these conversations with them. See if this changes anything for them. What I'm trying to give you is just a sense that I think, and we all see it, we all have to change the language. And I think it's really easy too, and maybe this is an assumption, so just tell me I'm a total ass if it's not correct, but I think it's really easy when you look at people who are car drivers, have been doing this a long time, have big teams. I think it's really easy to kind of go, oh, it's easy for them. Can I tell you how many ghosted whatevers I just got? I literally sent yesterday. I have 30 PCs who all lived in Japan with me. I set up a Zoom call for all of those PCs. This isn't all my PCs, but these are the ones who have lived in Japan. My message to them was not salesy anything. It was really focused on military. Do you know well, this is not true. I was going to say not one of them has responded. They've all seen the message. Mm-hmm. I had one come back immediately and say, I'm not interested in selling products. I never once even mentioned selling products. Like nowhere in that conversation was there anything about product. In fact, I just simply offered her free product if she would take a few minutes to just hear how we can help other military families over in Japan. Very simple. And I did have one who said, my mother's got dementia and I'm at her house every night. I just don't have time. Okay, I'll be happy to send you the recording. if you have time to listen to it, I'm happy to send you, some free goodies for it. But every other one completely ghosted me. Nothing. So I guess my point is, I don't have any tricks to necessarily change what's happening for my own business either. But that's where I think it's important to know, like, I don't care how long you've been doing this or how successful or not successful you think or feel you've been. The point is if you want more, we all have to get real with the fact that what we're doing isn't working. And we're going to have to change that. And that's based on conversations that I have had. I'm not making this up because I'm not smart enough to do that. This is all about conversations I've had with other leaders in our company, in our team. We have all come to this really same agreement, which is it's just the conversation has changed. Mm-hmm. And we can't approach people anymore with that, I've got this great business and all this great skincare, blah, blah, blah. No, we have to dig deeper. It just happens to be a skincare brand. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that will help us feel better about doing those reach outs.
I feel better about the way you're framing it. Feels like it's coming from a more authentic place than it has.
It is, right?
And it feels more natural to have that kind of conversation versus one that's, to your point earlier, it's like, this could be what you get, but it's like, hey, you can change your narrative. They can change their own narrative. I think that's sort of the message in general, right?
And let me just be clear. It's never been like nothing's changed in terms of our mentality. Like we're always about like, what's in it for this person. I think we just haven't done a great job of expressing that. And I think we have to get better at how we kind of approach these very specific conversations, which we still want to have. So I think we all have to get better at that. But the reality is we have to be doing more of them if we want to keep growing, because people fall off. People in times of 2 years go, well, I suck at this. I'm clearly stupid for having started. I'm out. Your customers, you're not reaching out to them. You're not talking to them. They're like, oh, I'll go find that other Rodan Fields chick I know, and maybe she'll take better care of me. Who knows what it is? The reality is if we're not having more of these conversations, we're gonna fizzle. Your business will fizzle. It's just what happens.
Yeah. And I was just gonna say that, so for me, I know that I started the business solely for financial reasons. And so I feel like whatever your why is really, for me, I felt like that automatically I'm now looking for people only who need the financial part. So that's like stupid on my part, right? But I also I'm in an area where there's a lot of old people. And I'm not talking like, the old ones, but I'm talking like
listen, I resent that a little bit, ma'am.
I'm talking about the retired ones who have like,
get them an MD roller, Kelsey.
Wait, what?
Get them an amp roller.
Believe me, if I could sell to the residents, if I could sell it to the residents at my community, I'd be retired myself. But I cannot. So that's that other story. But like I've had a few conversations, even just about product, with some of these retired ladies who have all day to go to the gym. You know what I mean? They're there like all day. Like I'm like, what else are you doing today? I'm thinking but they don't care about the money part of it. But then it's also hard for me. How do I relate? Like, oh, we got a great crew. Like we go to San Antonio. Like,
go dancing. They want to go dancing.
I think that's where you have to dig deeper, right? So that's where you have to go. So if you see these, you're at the gym. I know you are because we talked about this before. You're at the gym. Let's just say you see a group of ladies who are 2 or 3 times your age. What would it hurt you to walk up to them and just be like, ladies, I see you guys here all the time. You look like you have such a great group. What are you guys into? Like, obviously you love working out, but like just have a conversation, right?
Yeah.
I know you can talk. I know that.
I got it.
I know this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what would that hurt? That's your door in. That's all it takes. That's your way of going, oh, if they just say, well, listen, we got to be here for 8 hours because afterwards we go to the Mexican joint and we drink margaritas all night. Then you have some idea of, what it is they're into. That's your way to have a more meaningful conversation and get to the root of it.
Right.
That's where you learn what they're into. They don't need the money. Their husbands probably make, a gazillion dollars. Yeah. That's why they're at the gym all day. They got nothing better to do. If they weren't at the gym, they'd be at the Mexican restaurant drinking margaritas all day, right?
Yeah.
So you just have to find what their thing is, even if you don't relate to it.
And that's where I think I struggle, like, because I don't drink, so there's always like that thing, which whatever, you can get around that. I'm still a good time even if there's drinking going on.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are a good time. You are a good time.
We can go so many directions with that, Chelsea.
Keep that on the down low.
Why do you think I'm trying to get her up to Tampa? You're like an hour away from me, sister.
I don't know what, that one time I was ready to go. And speaking of the gym, I actually hurt my back 2 weeks ago. I had to go for an MRI.
Oh,
so
God.
that was terrifying on its own. Okay, an MRI. But so I'm limited at the gym. But that's like besides the way. But yes, I mean, getting out of my own way with saying this person doesn't need the money. They don't look like they're going to fit into my group of peeps. So like you said, I mean, just finding that additional.
Here's the thing. I would venture to say, and because I'm certainly not triple your age, but I'm probably double your age.
Don't count on it.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I'm a lot older than you might think.
Well, I
know those products work.
My point is, I would venture to say they would love to have your bubbly little sunshine ass up in their group. You probably light a fire under all of them. They'd probably love it. You can't make those kinds of assumptions. You know what I mean?
Yes. No, you're absolutely right.
We have to figure out what their thing is, whoever they are, whether we relate to it or not. I could recruit Mindy. I don't have small children at home. Mine are grown. I don't relate to that anymore. I did that years ago.
Right.
But that doesn't mean I couldn't have a great conversation and have a fantastic time with her and recruit her. Right?
Yes.
I've got to know her thing. So you just got to figure out what their thing is, whoever they are.
Yeah. And I think the other point I was going to bring up, because it escaped me because it's past my bedtime, and but I'm okay. But was that the issue of, it just escaped me again, believe it or not. Wait, just wait for it.
Oh, Jackie, I miss you so much.
Wait, it was right there. But okay, somebody else talk for a second and it'll come back, and then I'm going to cut in as soon as it.
No way.
So listen, I'm going to give you the right to cut in when you think of it. I want to give you just a few things to think about. And these are going to be things that you're going to be like, yeah, these are obvious things. And they are obvious things, but they are so true, especially given kind of where our business has been over the last couple of years. Here's what I'm going to tell you 100%. If you need somebody to believe in where we're headed, you call me. I have zero negative thoughts about where we're headed. I am 100% fully focused and fully committed and fully confident that we've ridden the worst of this and we're on our way back out. So if you ever, hold on one second, if you ever have anybody who says to you, no, you call me. If you need a dose of positivity, you need a dose of reality, you call my ass any day of the week. Can I get your commitment with that?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Mindy, can you hold your thought? I'll come right back, I promise.
Yeah.
Everything that we do in life, it's no different, but in this business, starts with us. Every single thing, right? Like I was telling Sarah the other day, I'm recruiting. I've recruited 3 in the last 2 months. I'm still working. I don't have any new PCs recently, but I've got new business partners. You guys may not always see that. The team that's a little maybe closer to me does, but the point is, if you're not doing it, your team's not going to do it. You can't expect your team to do it. You can't ask them to do things that you're not willing to do yourself. It all starts with you, right? Positivity, negativity, any of that starts with us. So if you're not 100%, the glass half empty or glass half full, that's the glass half full person. I don't even say I'm a glass half full person. I'm a glass refillable. Like, my glass is always refillable. That's how optimistic I am, okay? If I have negativity, guess what's going to happen? It's going to breed into my team. It's going to breed in places I don't want it to go. So everything starts with you. Just always keep that in mind. Your focus should be, if you're really interested in changing kind of the course of your business and where it's been and getting it back to where it was and then beyond, your focus needs to be on moving the needle every single day. This business is 100% about consistency. 100%. I can't remember who said it, but regardless, I think it was you, Chelsea, you had some things go on, you kind of stopped, you just weren't engaged, and people start falling off, right? So you have to be consistent, whether you feel like it or not. If you're having a bad day, have yourself a 10-minute pity party and then call it quits, because your focus has to be on moving the needle every single day, even if it's a tiny needle, even if it's just a millimeter. It's movement in the right direction every single day. And that will pay off in dividends over time. I promise you that, okay? I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, guys. I promise you. These are things that I've learned in 8 years about this business, and they're tried and true, and they are legit. You have to do these things. You also always have to be willing to try new things. Heidi, great conversation, right? We just talked about how, we're doing all the same stuff, and it's not working, and B, it feels weird and icky, and C, I hate it, and I don't even want to do it, and so I don't do it, right? So be willing to try new things. If you're not willing to try new things, then you have nothing to complain about in terms of your business, right? You can always focus on what you've done, what's gone wrong, and sit in that little cesspool all day long. You have yourself a little party in that pool, but I am not joining you, okay? Not one time. You always have to be willing to try new things, and then you make the pivot, right? So if you try something new and it works, you pivot. If you tried something new and it didn't work, then try something else, okay? But you have to be willing to try new things. You have to have a lot of war wounds, and I mean that in the sense that you've got to be told no a lot. I know you've heard that a gazillion times, and I don't mean that to sound callous, but you really do. You got to be ghosted by 40 of your, favorite customers all in one day. That sucks. You've got to have people quit on you. You've got to have people tell you, you're an asshole. I've heard it all. I've seen it all. I've done it all. They're war wounds. I've had business events where nobody shows. You have to do it all, right? I know a lot of you have done those things too, but just know that those things are going to keep happening. And if they're not happening, then you're not trying. So that's success, in my opinion. I'd much rather you get more war wounds than just lay around in that damn cesspool, okay? I love this statement, and I'm just gonna say it because I think it's worth repeating. I am so not focused on titles. I don't care about titles. But as you know, well, not the highest, but really the highest commissioned title that we have in our company is RFX. You know what makes an RFX an RFX? Anybody want to guess?
Consistency.
Okay, that's a part of it.
Okay.
They have received more war wounds. They have received more no's than you and I have. Period. It's the only difference. It's the only difference. They don't have special magic. They don't have glitter paint that, blows out their ass when they talk to somebody. They don't have anything that we don't have. They've just done it more, period. Okay? So again, not focused on titles, but if you want more out of your business, you're going to have to get told no more. That's just the reality. Every day is an opportunity to change. You can decide today that you're going to start your business over, that you're going to be a brand new consultant with fresh eyes and new opinions and new thought patterns and new all of it. You can decide today that that's what you want to do. And your team can decide too. Okay, so when you've got people direct to you who just aren't doing anything, and they, maybe keep telling you like, no, I'm not into it, well, keep asking, because people change. I did. I'd say I'm a good example of that. Okay. I think, again, you have to go back to belief. Like I said at the beginning, I believe 100%. And if you don't have that belief, then get a handle on where your head's at, because the belief is if you don't have it, it's going to kill you. And it's going to kill your team, and it's going to kill your customers. It's going to kill everything that you've worked so hard to create. We've had a rough couple of years. Big whoop-to-do. Right? It happens. It's business. We're so young. We've never experienced it. Now you've experienced it. Guess what you get to say? I went through a couple of shitty years, but look at us now, right? So, like, get over yourself. Have the belief that you need to move forward if that's what you want. You guys have a great team culture. I think that's super important. So I don't even need to talk to you about that, because you guys are killing it there. You've heard this before. If you don't treat this like a job, it won't pay you like a job. And that's fine if that's not what you're after. But if it's what you're after, start treating it as such, okay? I think, honestly, you guys all have the ability to let this be whatever you want out of it. You have to believe in it. You have to do the work to get there. But I will also say that something that we did this exercise at this retreat, and I know it's getting late, so I don't want to keep you guys. I could probably talk for a while, but I won't. And I'm not a talker. But we did this exercise at this retreat. So have any of you ever seen Rachel Hollis's Rise conferences, or know anything about what she does there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she does this exercise apparently. I've not personally seen it, but I've heard a little bit about it, where she'll have people in the room stand up if you can, agree with the statement or relate to the statement, or you feel this way about yourself or whatever. And a lot of it is really hard stuff. Some of it could be, I don't have a spouse that supports me, or a partner that supports me, or I feel like a failure, or I feel like some of these questions are really, really tough. So we did this kind of, miniature version of this exercise. That was what I was trying to look at, this exercise in Palm Springs. And it blew my mind, blown at how many people in this room, and there was only about 60 of us, who had so many negative, horrible feelings about themselves. It broke my fucking heart. Oh my God, it broke my heart. What it told me is that you're not alone, ever. I don't care what that circumstance is. If it's, you got a drinking problem or a drug problem, or you have a spouse that doesn't support you, or you feel like a failure, or you feel like you're less than or non-deserving, or whatever that is, I really highly suggest that you recognize you are not alone. I'm talking in a room full of uber successful people. Almost every single statement that we said, there were at least 70% of the room that stood up. And we didn't do it for ourselves. So we kind of yes or no, and then we passed papers around, and then it was random. We didn't know who was having these issues. But it made me really understand that together we are better always, and that you're not alone, ever. So I really highly encourage you to get realistic, with your own personal lives. If there are things that are maybe not making you a whole person, all of this business stuff won't matter. None of this is all, we already know what to do, right? We know how to do this stuff. But if you're not a whole person, none of this will matter. And so I really encourage you to just, make sure that you're good there. And if you're not, seek out the people that you need to seek out, to know you're not alone, to get help, to do whatever that is, okay? There was one other thing I was going to tell you, but now I'm so focused on hanging out because I'm sorry I'm keeping you so long. Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you want to touch on? Any questions that you have? Anything at all?
Min, what did you have?
Remember?
Never came back. Message me when it comes to you.
Mine did come back. So I actually, because I wrote it down mid-thought, so I didn't interrupt you because you were on a roll, and thank you for that. So my thing was, when I did first start the business, like I remember doing a lot of reach outs, and they were not authentic at the time. They were like, oh, I better copy and paste Bridget Kavanaugh's wording because this sounds really good, right? Or whoever, you know, she's got good words, right? But I found myself literally like on the treadmill at the gym, like turning my speed down so I could text someone back. Like, you're not going anywhere.
Right.
But I'm like, I would be up till 11 p.m. and up before work. I'd be up at 4 a.m. sending Facebook messages. I was eating, sleeping, breathing this, and it's so unhealthy.
No balance.
Yeah.
No, I wrote balance was no balance.
You gotta have balance.
It was so much, but I attributed my success to that. I mean, it was interfering with my marriage. Like I couldn't, there was, you know, probably other things there too, but I mean, the communication, I'm on my phone all night long.
And then you're exhausted, so you don't have any time and intention to give to your husband, right?
Right. I mean, it was just too much, and I think I'm scared of that again.
Yeah.
Like I've done a little.
But here's how you get around this, Chelsea. You have to set hours of operation, and you have to stick with them. Period.
I know, and I felt like only, and I say this kindly, all the successful people said that because they can say that because they can, and I don't say that rudely at all. I say it like
I want to hear your thought.
My thought is like, okay. This is my thought. It's probably stupid, but my thought is they can afford to not gain that PC because they're making a crap ton of money. And you know what I mean? I was literally, was like barely making my bills. And I'm like, if this person buys a regimen, like I am like gonna hit EC this time, you know? And I mean, it was like, disturbing. Like I don't have another word for it. Yes, but
you do recognize that that's not a rational thought, right?
Yes, I know now. I do know that.
I mean about other people who were successful or who are successful. You recognize that's not rational.
And a business partner to you is just as valuable as it would be to me.
100%. And not only that, but they started as a team of 1, 2.
Exactly.
Every single person in this business started as one.
Right.
Every single one.
Yeah, my main thought was not about other people. I just threw that in as a little extra.
But that's what you say to yourself because it's really easy to go, oh, that's those people. So I'm just going to stay here in my own misery because this is easier. Right? That's what you do.
Yeah.
So you know better, and that's truly how you have to get out of that.
Yeah.
Is setting those hours. Know that there's going to be times where you can be flexible. But set those damn hours. If you only want to work for 3 hours a day and it's 30 minutes here, 20 minutes here, put it on a calendar, figure it out, write out your day, see where you have time, and only work your business during that time. When your husband walks through the door and you're sitting down for dinner, turn your phone off, put it away. You're not working, right? You have to set those boundaries. My kids called me out one night at dinner. I was like, oh, snap. Like they just told me, like, you know, you're on your phone all the day. I'm like, yeah, but I live overseas and I have to make sure I'm available. And I was like, no, that's the biggest crock of shit ever. I don't have to do that. I don't have to. It
kind of goes back to like having that authentic self, right?
Right.
If you have to, and I think that I agree with you, Chelsea. I probably did a little bit of the same, but how you have an authentic self and how you talk about the business and how you keep your own hours and how you stay true to what's really important, which is our family and ourselves and our kids and our friends, and balance it all. And I think I hear what you're saying, but for me to like I could totally re-engage tomorrow and do this again. Like, let's do it. Let's get motivated and get on top of it. But it's got to be from a place that's authentic. And I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think too, that boils to, I mean, we all know that boils down to you, period. Right. What I will say though, that I think, honestly, I think is something that a lot of people really struggle with is your why. I hate that word. I hate it more than any other word that we use in our business. I don't talk about my why. My why, I get it. The word is great. I get the premise behind it. I got all that, but it's intimidating. It's intimidating because most of us are like, well, you know, my why is just because I want, you know, $300 extra a month to go buy a Chanel bag or what. I mean, I don't even know what Chanel is. I'm just throwing stuff out there. Okay. My point is, like, that why can be really intimidating because A, it doesn't tend to be the thing that actually motivates you personally. B, it can be the thing that can really feel like you have to have some, you know, like a mind-blowing, you know, I want to save the world and build an orphanage over in Africa and save all their drinking water and all, you know, that's not my why. I think what we need to do is also change the language there. Like, what, I don't care about your why. What is your right now? What is it right now that would really be helpful for you? What is it this month that would really make a difference in your family's life? What is that? Let's focus on those things. Because as you've heard a gazillion people say, and I don't want to reiterate it, is that why changes, that evolves. Mm-hmm. I started my business so I could be home with my kids and have more time with them, but now they're growing up and they're like, they don't even want to spend time with me anymore. So like my why has changed. And I think that why is so intimidating. You know, the idea of what's your passion and what's your legacy and all of that, I think they're great words, but they're super intimidating. So break it down. What's your right now? What is today? What's next week? What is it that's, and only you know that, right? Mm-hmm. So only you know what's going to make you go, yeah, damn it. You know, Shannon's blowing smoke up my ass, but I am going to start again tomorrow. I'm going to screw her. I'm going to show her what I just did. Whatever that is, you know what I mean? Like, find that thing for you. Only you can answer that. But I think, change the language in your head. You know, what's my why? It doesn't have to be like that. What's right now? What's my goal right now? My goal is to retire my husband from the Air Force and not worry about him losing his paycheck. That's my why. Figure it out. What's your thing? What is it that you need right now? And if you change that verbiage in your head, I guarantee it'll change how you see your business every day. It will help you be consistent because you're going to go like, oh no, I got that thing I got to pay off. Those fancy new floors I just put in, I got to pay that off before the interest rate goes up. That's my why right now. So whatever that is, figure that out. And I think that will help. I think that will help you, and in turn, your team kind of figure out like, okay, maybe tomorrow could be a new day in business, and maybe it should be a new day in business, and maybe I can change some of my own, you know, internal narrative. I'm not trying to be hard on you, Heidi, because you had anesthesia a couple days ago.
I'm tired.
and we've talked for far too long, and I'm so sorry about that. But I enjoy you guys so much, and I have just enjoyed spending just a little bit of time with you.
Shay, this was perfect. Thank you so much for doing this and for giving us that time.
Yeah, I feel like it's been too long since I've had any good conversations with you guys. So
yeah,
I love this group. Like, you guys are awesome. I adore every one of you, and please know, if you don't already, I feel like I've told you all this, like, I'm a phone call away any day of the week. You want somebody to be mad at, you call me. You want somebody to cheer you on, you call me. You just need somebody to listen, call me. If you need somebody to whip your ass into shape and tell you to get over yourself, call me. Whatever it is.
Bitch too about Sarah, call her.
Listen, Sara Lory girl. Yeah, call me. I won't tell Sarah.
Wait, what was your number? No, I'm kidding.
Thanks, Charles.
Yeah, so I'm a phone call away anytime. I mean it. And I hope that if nothing else, this just gets you thinking where you can go from here. None of us have it all figured out. That's not at all what my goal would be for you. It's just to think, maybe things, maybe I can change this language. Maybe I can try this. Maybe I can put myself at a higher standard. Maybe I can be more consistent in my own business. All of the things. If any of it resonates, then I hope this was helpful.
Thank
you.
You're welcome. I love you guys. You guys are awesome.
We love you back.
Right back at ya.
Yes.
All right, Heidi needs to go to bed now.
Yes, go to bed, Heidi.
Me too.
Yeah, Chelsea
bed.
too.
Yeah, Chelsea wakes up far earlier than I do.
Oh,
All right.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
bye.
Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Do
Love
this
you.
again. I just like seeing all your faces. Let's do this again soon.
No, we should do this more
Yes,
often, just
please.
in general.
Okay, we'll figure out a time.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.